So today I want to talk about how to keep your soul as an artist. It's a topic that's been very much on my mind recently because I'm going through this struggle myself. I'm going through a struggle where I've been making videos long enough that I understand what succeeds and what doesn't. You do something long enough, you start to see the patterns, you start to feel the energy, and you start to you often know even before you publish something like, oh, this will be a good one, or this one maybe won't be so good. But then the question is, what does good mean? Does good mean getting 1 million views? Does good mean getting 100% likes and nobody clicks that dislike button? Or does good mean satisfying some inner drive, some feeling, some voice perhaps inside you that's telling you what to do? And if you've satisfied that voice, it doesn't matter if nobody likes it or nobody even sees it, right? That's what the purely artistic way of life, the pure artist might think. But in a life where you need to pay the bills, and in a life where we have egos that want to be fed, reality is a bit more complicated. Especially when you see people succeeding, doing similar things, getting more attention, making more money. Attention and money, they're really the same thing. They're just two different forms of seeking validation from others. Okay, you like me, so you're watching, you're listening, you're clicking like. Okay, you like me, so you're going to spend a bunch of money, you're going to pay me, you're going to buy me a bigger house, so other people around can know that other people liked me. It's the same thing at the core, isn't it? And yet, there's something else which is completely different from that. I've spoken to some people who have that same artistic inclination, and they work day jobs. They work day jobs, 9 to 5s, to pay the bills. And then they do their art just recreationally. I don't want to say as a hobby because that seems to diminish it somehow. But they do their art outside of their profession. So they keep, in some sense, that's one way to keep the art pure, is to separate it entirely from the reality of living in this money-driven society that we live in. But if you do want to actually try and make money as an artist, there's going to be a lot of influences which try to steal your soul in various different ways. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to market what you're doing with things that don't personally align with you. There's going to be a lot of ways to sell things that you just don't feel right. There are things you don't want to be selling, things you don't want to be promoting, but you justify it to yourself by saying, this is what allows me to continue doing the art. And so I'm going to suffer. I'm going to do this thing I don't believe in to keep doing this other thing I believe in. Or maybe another version of it, which I've done a few times, more than a few times actually, is you'll make something you're not really proud of. Like, I've made videos in the past that I'm not really proud of. And then while you do that, maybe you make something that's like some clickbait on YouTube. It's playing at someone's emotions. It's like recently I did a couple videos. I did a recent one from Cuba that I call 5 Things That Shocked Me About Cuba. And I think the video itself is a powerful message. It's something I wanted to share. It's something I think is important. It's the reality of my experience in Cuba. But by using the word shock, I marketed it in a certain way that's a bit clickbaity. It's like, oh, what shocked this guy? Whereas a more accurate title, a more true to the artistic side, would have been something like, I don't know, what I learned on my trip to Cuba. Like, I guess that's pretty boring sounding, which is why the marketing comes in, because you need something, you need some emotion to get people to click. I guess I could have called it like the two sides of Havana, because I was talking about two different sides of the city. So there's different ways to think about the title, the thumbnail. You see that with a lot of books. You see that with books that sometimes have like very dramatic sounding names. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. That's a popular book about creating your own lifestyle and traveling. It's a popular book with a lot of travelers. But that title, it's kind of clickbait, because if you read the book, at no point is he actually teaching you like, oh, by the end of this book, you're only going to work 4 hours a week. It's more about creating a lifestyle that allows you to work less or work more, depending on what you want to do. But that title and that book cover will get someone through to the knowledge they actually need. So it's like you give people what they want, and then give them what they need. You market something that isn't aligned with your artistic soul, and then you use it to get to something good. Or sometimes it's just clickbait all the way through. Sometimes, I did a video early on, like when I was pretty new to YouTube, and it was called like, what was it? Something about sex in a hostel. Do people have sex in a hostel? Because like when I started YouTube, I was a real budget traveler. Like I only stayed in cheap hostels. And that was a question people asked me, like, so do people have sex with other travelers in the hostel? Like, so I made a video just sharing like if that happens. The answer is yes. But yeah, I don't know. I had like sort of I found some like oh, it was so bad. I was such a bad YouTuber back then. I found some like clickbait image of like a woman in bed. I was like, sex in a hostel, ? It was total clickbait. And the video itself was like pretty boring. It was just me explaining like, yeah, sometimes this happens in hostels, something to be aware of. Pointless video. It got like 100,000 views. For a while, that was actually my most viewed video. That stupid, pointless clickbait video, which had nothing to do with my soul or the journey that I was on or anything. And I eventually deleted that video. Because by this point I'd had other successful videos, I had more attention, and I was like looking at this early video, and thinking, this isn't who I want to be. This isn't the brand I want to build. This isn't the person if I meet a stranger and they're like, what do you do? Oh, I make videos. Oh, show me your channel. Well, here it is. And then the first thing they see is that. I don't want to portray myself that way to other people. So I deleted it. So listen, my hands are not clean. I've definitely made missteps. And I think that's why I can speak about this topic now, because you do lose your soul sometimes when you're chasing attention, when you're chasing money. When you try to make a career as an artist, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be real challenging sometimes. But I think as long as you have that voice inside you, and you listen to it more often than not, you're going to stay on the right path. Because that voice, whatever it is, if it's the muse, or if you're religious, if you believe it's God speaking through you, if you just believe it's creativity, if you just believe it's your own brain, whatever you think it is, it's there for a reason. I don't know what that reason is, but it's there for a reason. Everything is there for a reason. And it is kind of sad when you see people who have blocked out that voice and fully committed to the clickbait side of it, or just I don't know, like even like Kanye West. I don't know how many people this reference will make sense to, but like when Kanye West came out with his early work, he had an album called The College Dropout. And it was a very soulful album where he was talking about, his experiences when he was young, growing up in Chicago, and like, I don't know, it was just very pure. It was a very pure piece of artwork. And then he got rich and he married Kim Kardashian and he made a bunch of money and he's got a shoe company and he talks about how great Kanye West is, and he changed. He changed a lot. Did he evolve? Was that just his natural journey? I mean, he's still making artwork, clearly. He's he makes good music, but did he block out that voice that he started with? I don't know, maybe that's just part of the journey. Like some people, some very successful people could say, listen, that voice is like actually holding you back. Once you learn how to get a bunch of views, just follow that. Just follow that path. See where it takes you. It'll take you to riches. It'll take you to a famous, rich wife. You'll be on the front of newspapers and magazines, and you'll be like rich and famous past your wildest dreams. But there's another path. There's another tree branch, to use the trees behind me as a metaphor. There's another tree branch you can follow, which could take you somewhere very different. For some people, it means, hey, I don't want to be an artist anymore. I'm going to work a 9 to 5. I'm going to work a desk job. But then on weekends, I'm going to create something you've never seen before. Something very beautiful, something very unique. Something that touches a small number of people. But those artists, the people who I've met at, craft fairs and little, sometimes selling their artwork just on the side of the sidewalk in different cities all around the world. I've seen people like this. They're not going to be on the front of Time magazine like Kanye West. They're not going to live that life. But maybe they don't want to. And that comes down to knowing yourself. What do you really want? But don't get confused. Don't think that life of luxury is the only definition of success. For some people it is. For other people, it's that voice inside that can be your success. But the thing of a starving artist is real. There are people out there who don't play the game at all. Heck, to keep it with YouTube, because I know YouTube pretty well at this point. I know some channels, their videos are amazing, but they don't make clickable titles. They don't make somewhat clickbait thumbnails. And so they have these amazing videos that no one is watching. They're getting 50 views on videos that, if they marketed them a bit different, could get 50,000 views. And if they really wanted to keep doing videos like that, they could be doing it full time. But I can't assume everyone wants that. And what happens sometimes when you learn how to change your content, change your artwork, change your writing, change your acting, change your singing a little bit to meet some mainstream idea of what it should be, it's really hard to go back. Because you get addicted to that success. And you tell yourself, oh, I'm just going to do some of this boring stuff, for the pop singer, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift. I'm just going to do the pop song. I'm going to do one more of those so that they can find my real work on the album. But then when you get famous from this and you have all these producers and your agents and all these fans telling you, do more like this, more pop songs, and nobody really likes your creative independent work. Are you really going to have the courage to keep doing that creative stuff and forget about all that fame? Because heck, that in some sense, when you're a starving artist, you don't have much, but you still have your freedom. Once you get a taste of that success, once you go down that tree branch, it's really, really hard to climb your way back. But when you talk about keeping your soul as an artist, in some ways it helps to have a line and agree that you will never cross that line, and set that line at the beginning. Don't decide when it's too late. I should have never used the word sex in a title and use that clickbait thumbnail. Even though that was so early on my channel, no one probably knows what I'm talking about. I know. I corrupted a little bit of my own spirit by doing that. But I pulled myself out, thankfully. But maybe there's another universe where I purely would have done videos like that, and then my channel would have been some I don't know, one of those videos that just, one of those channels that just objectifies and sexualizes everything, which is definitely out there. There's a lot of content like that on the internet. I'm sure you've noticed. And I guess I shouldn't judge people for doing different content too. I mean, that's the thing. You don't really know whether someone is following their own path or not. All you can know is if you're following your own path. Which is why at the end of the day, you should probably spend a lot less time worrying about other people and spend more time finding your own path. Because you're the only one with it. No one else has that path but you. See where it will take you. If you hold on to your soul as best as you can in this crazy world that we live in.